Good evening, everyone. Currently, at an altitude of 350 miles above Earth, the James Webb Space Telescope is capturing images that are forcing the scientific community to rethink established understandings of the universe. These images reveal galaxies that emerged when the universe was, according to prevailing theories, too young to form them. They show black holes growing at rates exceeding the limits set by known physical laws, and planets with atmospheres whose existence seems impossible. The upcoming research promises to overturn many concepts previously thought to be unshakable in our understanding of reality. Prepare for a deep dive into the cosmic dawn, a time when the universe was only 400 million years old. During this period, something occurred that was long considered impossible. Scientists expected to find only tiny, primitive galaxies just beginning to form their first stars. Instead, Webb revealed colossal galactic giants, already boasting billions of mature stars and actively rotating. These cosmic behemoths surpass our entire Milky Way in mass. Yet, they existed when the universe was barely 3% of its current age. To grasp the scale of this discovery, imagine finding a fully grown, mighty oak tree in a field sown just yesterday. This finding has completely reshaped our understanding of cosmic evolution. According to all existing models, galaxies should evolve slowly over billions of years through countless mergers and star formation cycles. However, these ancient cosmic colossi did not have enough time for such patient growth. Apparently, they formed almost instantaneously after the Big Bang, thereby disregarding the fundamental timeline that astronomers have relied on for decades. Dr. Emma Rodriguez, representing the Space Telescope Science Institute, accurately describes this shock. Her team expected to see cosmic infants, but instead found cosmic titans. These galaxies exhibit complex spiral structures, supermassive black holes at their centers, and chemical signatures that, by all accounts, should have taken eons to form. Yet, they were there, fully formed, when the universe was just beginning to light up its first atoms. The implications of this discovery are deeply troubling for cosmologists. If galaxies could indeed grow so massive and at such incredible speeds, it implies that dark matter must behave entirely differently than previously assumed. Either gravity acted significantly faster in the early universe, or we are missing entire chapters of cosmic history. Some scientists now lean towards the hypothesis that these galaxies formed from primordial black holes, emerging directly from the Big Bang itself. What makes this discovery even more puzzling is the sheer number of these impossible galaxies. Webb has found dozens of such objects scattered throughout the early universe, indicating that this is not a rare anomaly, but rather a common occurrence. Each new observation forces scientists to recalculate the fundamental constants that govern the behavior of matter in space and time. These galaxies also emit light at wavelengths whose existence should not yet have been possible during that period. Heavy elements like oxygen and carbon, which form inside dying stars, are present in quantities that would require millions of stellar generations. However, these galaxies formed before such stellar factories had a chance to begin their work. This is analogous to finding gold coins in a mine before anyone invented mining. Such discoveries compel astronomers to consider truly radical possibilities. Perhaps the universe went through several creation phases that we have yet to discover. Perhaps time itself moved differently in the cosmic dawn, or perhaps our entire understanding of how gravity shapes matter across cosmic distances needs a complete and comprehensive overhaul. The most unsettling possibility is that these galaxies formed through processes that no longer operate in our universe today. The forces that shaped the cosmos in its infancy might have been fundamentally different from the physics we observe now. But if massive galaxies could form incredibly fast, what then can be said about the supermassive black holes lurking at their hearts? At the heart of the Crab Nebula, located 6,500 light-years from Earth, an astonishing and inexplicable phenomenon is occurring. Stars are being born under conditions that, according to all known laws of astrophysics, are entirely unsuitable for their formation. The traditional process of star formation has always required specific circumstances. dense accumulations of gas and dust, temperatures reaching approximately -240 degrees Celsius, and millions of years during which gravity slowly compresses matter until nuclear fusion ignites. This mechanism was always considered extremely delicate, predictable, and thoroughly studied. Or at least, so scientists believed, until the Webb Space Telescope began observing stars appearing in environments that, in theory, should instantly destroy any attempts at their formation. These unusual rogue stars emerge in the active remnants of supernovae, where temperatures reach millions of degrees, and powerful radiation should, it would seem, vaporize any nascent stellar nurseries. This spectacle can be compared to observing flowers blooming directly inside a blast furnace. Stellar winds emanating from nearby massive stars should disperse any gas clouds long before they can collapse into new stars. Nevertheless, Webb consistently captures images of bright protostars appearing from these truly cosmic infernos. Even more astonishing, these impossible stars form at a rate exceeding any known mechanisms. While normal star birth takes millions of years, these stellar rebels complete their formation cycle in just a few thousand years. They essentially skip entire stages of the standard model of stellar evolution, transitioning from a gas cloud to a burning star as if someone activated a fast-forward function in cosmic space. Images obtained by the Webb Space Telescope reveal something that completely breaks all known rules of astrophysics. For instance, within the Orion Nebula, young stars are forming under gravitational conditions that, by all calculations, should tear them apart. Tidal forces from nearby massive stars create circumstances akin to being stretched on a cosmic rack. Yet somehow, these stellar infants not only survive, but thrive in this chaos. Dr. Michael Chen from Harvard University is actively researching these anomalous formations. His scientific team has discovered that some of these impossible stars contain heavy elements that, logically, should not be present in such young stellar objects. The creation of such elements requires many generations of stellar deaths and subsequent rebirths. Nevertheless, they appear in stars that formed, by cosmic standards, literally yesterday. The mystery deepens when scientists begin to examine their energy output. These stars burn brighter and hotter than their mass should allow. For example, a star with the mass of our Sun produces energy like a star 50 times more massive. They seem to be utilizing fusion processes that, according to our physics textbooks, are utterly impossible at such low stellar masses. What most concerns astronomers is the rate at which these impossible stars are appearing. The Webb Space Telescope detects new ones forming every few months, suggesting an accelerating mechanism that creates them. This phenomenon appears to be spreading to other areas of the cosmos previously considered stable. Some scientists hypothesize that these stars form as a result of interactions with dark matter that we cannot yet detect. Other researchers believe they represent a new phase of stellar evolution, triggered by unique cosmic conditions existing only in our current epoch. The most radical theory suggests that these stars form through quantum tunneling effects, which allow matter to bypass normal gravitational constraints. These stellar rebels are not random anomalies, but appear to follow specific patterns that we are not yet able to fully comprehend. They cluster in specific regions and seem to communicate with each other via gravitational waves, creating synchronized formation events across vast distances. If stars can defy the fundamental rules of their formation, then what can be said about the planets orbiting them 50 light-years away, around a star called TOI 715? There exists a celestial body, a planet that, seemingly defying all laws of nature, should not sustain a breathable gaseous envelope. The Webb Space Telescope conducted a detailed analysis of this distant world's atmosphere and revealed something that completely contradicts established ideas about chemical processes on planets. This planet possesses oxygen concentrations exceeding Earth's, as well as nitrogen in incredible volumes, and water vapor that hovers in atmospheric layers where, by all calculations, it should have collapsed under its own mass. Such a discovery is comparable to finding a fish freely soaring through the air. According to generally accepted models of celestial body formation, This world should be a lifeless, rocky desert. It orbits too close to its star, making liquid water impossible, yet it somehow inexplicably sustains vast cloud systems that cover entire continents. Its atmospheric pressure is 3 times that of Earth. But instead of annihilating all life under its toxic shroud, it fosters weather conditions that seem almost ideally suited to supporting life. A truly unsettling discovery was made when the Webb telescope detected industrial pollutants in the atmosphere. Compounds that on our planet are formed exclusively through manufacturing processes were found in concentrations indicating colossal industrial activity. Yet this planet is presumed to lack intelligent life, has no technology, and consequently, there are no natural reasons for the production of such chemicals. Dr. Sarah Kim, an associate at the Exoplanet Research Institute, actively monitors these anomalous atmospheres on dozens of different worlds. Her extensive data demonstrates that at least 30% of rocky planets have atmospheric compositions that completely contradict known laws of chemistry. Elements are present in combinations that, by all scientific understanding, should be chemically impossible and are sustained by energy sources for which no explanation has yet been found. The most striking example is a planet designated HD 4037G. Its atmosphere contains pure metallic hydrogen, existing in a gaseous state at temperatures where it should instantly transition into a liquid phase. The hydrogen forms complex structures resembling crystalline formations, creating atmospheric layers that behave like solid materials while remaining entirely gaseous. Even more unusual are the atmospheric tides. On Earth, our air envelope is relatively stable, but these exoplanets exhibit atmospheric mass movements that surge back and forth across the planet's surface, resembling ocean waves. Entire atmospheric layers migrate from the day side to the night side, following patterns that seem to obey mathematical sequences rather than chaotic weather systems. Webb has discovered atmospheric storms that last for years and generate electrical discharges visible even from interstellar distances. These storms form plasma structures that maintain geometric shapes, suggesting some unknown organizing principle at work in planetary atmospheres. The chemical signatures tell an incredible story. Heavy elements, which require stellar nucleosynthesis to form, appear in pristine form, as if they were manufactured rather than formed by natural processes. Isotope ratios follow patterns that do not correspond to any known mechanism of stellar or planetary formation. Most unsettling is the discovery of atmospheric synchronization. Planets separated by tens of light years exhibit identical atmospheric changes occurring simultaneously. When one planet's atmosphere changes its composition, others follow suit within hours, despite being too far apart for any known form of communication. Some atmospheres contain molecular structures that appear capable of self-replication, becoming increasingly complex over time without any obvious energy source. These atmospheric organisms, if they can be called that, seem to terraform their host planets through processes that operate significantly faster than biological evolution. The implications unfolding before researchers are truly astounding. Either our current understanding of planetary chemistry is fundamentally flawed, or these celestial bodies are actively being transformed by some intelligent entities that we are currently unable to detect. However, even the most mysterious atmospheric phenomena pale in comparison to what the Webb Space Telescope has revealed about black holes, which are the energy sources for these systems. At the very heart of a galaxy named GN11, located 11 billion light-years from our planet Earth, lies a black hole whose existence, according to modern understanding, is impossible. This colossal cosmic object possesses a mass equivalent to 40 million of our suns. Remarkably, it formed during a period when the universe was only 400 million years old. According to equations developed by Albert Einstein, black holes can increase their mass by absorbing matter, but only up to a certain maximum rate, known as the Eddington limit. Even with continuous matter accretion at this theoretical maximum speed, this black hole would have required several billion years to reach its current incredible size. Somehow, it managed to grow to these colossal proportions in a minuscule fraction of the time allowed by known physics. This astonishing discovery forces astronomers to confront an uncomfortable and very unsettling reality. Either our fundamental understanding of black hole physics is profoundly incorrect, or these ancient giant formations originated through mechanisms that, for some reason, no longer operate in our current universe. Such a discovery can be compared to finding a mountain that grew from a tiny pebble to its current colossal size in just one day. The Webb Space Telescope has identified dozens of such impossible black holes scattered throughout the early universe. Each one demonstrates a violation of the fundamental speed limits that dictate how matter can fall into a gravitational well. They appear to have somehow bypassed the accepted rules of accretion, incredibly swallowing entire stellar systems in cosmic gulps that, by all accounts, should have choked them with their own intense luminosity. Dr. James Wright, a renowned researcher from the Black Hole Research Consortium, characterizes these enigmatic objects as cosmic rule breakers. His meticulous calculations indicate that to achieve their observed masses, these black holes would have needed to accrete matter at a rate 100 times greater than the Eddington limit. At such incredible feeding speeds, intense radiation should have repelled any approaching matter, making further growth absolutely impossible. The mystery deepens even further when researchers begin to study how these black holes interact with their parent galaxies. Instead of gradually influencing star formation processes over many millions of years, they seem to shape entire galactic structures almost instantaneously. Galaxies that, according to all models, should have taken billions of years to develop their characteristic and recognizable forms, appear fully formed around these impossible black holes. Even more unsettling is the discovery that these ancient black holes emit energy signatures that do not conform to any known physical theories. They generate gravitational waves that arrive before light from the same cosmic events, suggesting that they are somehow warping causality itself. Time, apparently, flows differently in their vicinity, with stellar orbits completing faster than even the most precise relativistic calculations predict. The Webb Space Telescope has detected something even stranger and more inexplicable. These supermassive black holes appear to communicate with each other across vast cosmic distances. When one black hole changes its activity level, others respond within timescales that imply information transfer at speeds exceeding the speed of light. They seem to act as a unified network, coordinating their behavior through mechanisms that completely defy our current understanding of spacetime. The most disturbing discovery occurred during the analysis of their X-ray emissions. These black holes produce energy patterns that do not correspond to any known astrophysical process. The radiation signatures suggest that they are accessing energy sources far beyond the conversion of matter into energy via Albert Einstein's famous equation. They seem to be harnessing fundamental forces that we, humanity, have not yet discovered. Some scientists hypothesize that these mysterious black holes emerged directly from the Big Bang itself, appearing as primordial gravitational condensations that bypass the standard path of stellar evolution. Other researchers believe they serve as gateways to parallel dimensions, where entirely different physical laws operate. Such implications plunge cosmologists into a state of profound unease. If black holes can defy the fundamental limits of physics, then our entire understanding of gravity, the space-time continuum, and causality may be merely an approximation of more complex realities. However, the mysteries of black holes are just the beginning of the Webb Space Telescope's assault on established scientific dogmas. Deep within the light spectrum emanating from the galaxy MAX 149, Webb has discovered something that radically rewrites the periodic table of cosmic history. This ancient galaxy, formed when the universe was only 500 million years old, contains heavy elements such as gold, platinum, and uranium in concentrations that, according to current understanding, should not have existed for another 10 billion years. These elements are known to form exclusively from the explosive deaths of massive stars or from the collision of neutron stars. Yet here they appear in pristine abundance, at a time when the cosmos had barely begun to generate its first stars. This astonishing discovery refutes everything we know about stellar nucleosynthesis. Heavy elements require several generations of stellar birth, life, and death to accumulate in significant quantities. Each stellar generation creates progressively heavier elements, slowly enriching the cosmic composition over billions of years. To discover these elements in such an early galaxy is like finding a library full of Shakespeare's works in the era of cave paintings. Dr. Lisa Martinez from the Space Chemistry Laboratory has meticulously mapped these elemental anomalies in dozens of ancient galaxies. Her extensive research demonstrates that nearly half of the oldest galaxies contain unimaginable quantities of elements. Elements whose appearance requires neutron star collisions are found in galaxies where neutron stars should not yet exist. The isotope ratios tell an even more astonishing story. On Earth, elements exhibit predictable isotopic signatures based on their formation processes. However, these ancient galaxies contain isotopes in ratios that do not correspond to any known nuclear process. Some elements, apparently, were manufactured rather than formed as a result of natural stellar evolution. Webb has revealed something particularly unsettling in the Abell 2744 galaxy cluster. Ancient galaxies in this cluster contain technetium, an element so unstable that it completely decays in millions of years. However, these galaxies are billions of years old. The presence of technetium suggests either continuous production through unknown processes or some mechanism that violates the laws of radioactive decay. Even more mysterious are the rare earth elements appearing in concentrations thousands of times higher than theoretical predictions. These elements typically form in trace amounts through complex stellar processes. However, early galaxies appear to be producing them en masse through mechanisms that leave no other observable traces. The elemental patterns suggest that these ancient galaxies had access to nuclear processes that no longer operate in our current universe. Some spectra show evidence of super-heavy elements with atomic numbers beyond anything represented in our periodic table. These theoretical elements should be incredibly unstable. Yet they seem to remain coherent on cosmic timescales. Most disturbing is the discovery of organized elemental distributions. Instead of the random scattering expected from chaotic stellar processes, these elements appear to follow mathematical patterns. Some galaxies exhibit element quantities that correspond to precise geometric ratios, as if someone followed a cosmic recipe. The Webb Space Telescope has recorded elemental signatures that indicate matter underwent transmutation at the atomic level, bypassing the usual processes of nuclear physics. It appears that elements were transformed from one type to another without leaving the expected byproducts of nuclear reactions. These astonishing implications challenge our existing understanding of the very essence of matter. Perhaps the early universe operated under different physical laws, promoting rapid element synthesis, or these galaxies were enriched with heavy elements through processes yet undiscovered by science. Some researchers hypothesize that these elements arose from interactions with parallel dimensions, where entirely different laws of nuclear physics apply. Others believe that exotic states of matter were present in the early universe, capable of rapid heavy element synthesis due to quantum tunneling effects. However, all these elemental mysteries pale in comparison to Webb's astonishing discovery that light itself behaves in an utterly impossible way. 13 billion light-years away, in the most distant regions observable by the Webb telescope, ancient light carries messages that challenge the fundamental nature of reality. These photons began their journey when the universe was only 100 million years old, in a mysterious epoch when stars were supposedly first igniting. However, the light signatures detected by Webb tell a story that does not align with any theoretical model of early stellar evolution. The spectra contain absorption lines corresponding to molecular structures that are too complex to exist in the primordial universe. According to Big Bang nucleosynthesis theory, the early universe consisted only of hydrogen, helium, and trace amounts of lithium. The first stars should have been massive, simple giants, burning pure hydrogen through elementary nuclear fusion. Their light should have reflected this chemical simplicity. Instead, Webb detects the spectral fingerprints of complex organic molecules, heavy metals, and compounds that require advanced chemistry to form. Dr. Robert Kim from the Early Universe Research Center calls these observations cosmic archaeology, revealing impossible artifacts. The light signatures suggest that these first stars had planetary systems with complex chemical cycles functioning at a time when the universe was supposedly too young and simple for such complexity. The most unsettling discovery concerns the polarization patterns of this ancient light. Light waves vibrate in specific orientations depending on what generated them and what they encountered during their long journey. However, these primary photons exhibit polarization patterns that indicate their passage through structures that should not exist in empty cosmic space. Ancient starlight reveals something even stranger. Instead of the chaotic, powerful signatures expected from primitive stellar furnaces, these first stars apparently burned with astonishing stability and precision. Their energy output patterns suggest they were somehow regulated or controlled, maintaining constant luminosity for millions of years without the variability characteristic of all known stellar objects. Webb has discovered spectral lines indicating that these ancient stars produced elements in ratios perfectly matching those required to form Earth-like planets. Instead of the random production of elements expected from early stellar nucleosynthesis, these stars seem to have created specific chemical compositions, as if following a predetermined formula. The light also carries information about the cosmic environment in the universe's infancy. Photons absorbed and re-emitted by primordial gas clouds reveal molecular signatures that suggest complex organic chemistry was already actively at work when the cosmos was, supposedly, sterile and lifeless. Most mysteriously, the ancient starlight exhibits periodic modulation, repeating with mathematical precision. These changes in brightness follow specific patterns that suggest the first stars were somehow synchronized across vast cosmic distances, pulsating in harmonious rhythms that spanned millions of light years. Some spectral features appear to encode information in binary patterns, resembling digital communication. The light changes follow sequences that do not correspond to any known astrophysical process, but exhibit characteristics similar to artificial signals. It is as if these ancient stars were transmitting messages across the cosmos. The implications of this are astounding. Either the first stars formed through processes entirely different from what we observe today, or the universe began with a level of organization and complexity that our current models cannot explain. The ancient light signatures suggest that intelligence could have emerged in the cosmos much earlier than thought possible, perhaps even before the first galaxies fully formed. However, stellar mysteries pale in comparison to what the Webb telescope has discovered about inexplicable galactic collisions. 4 billion light-years from Earth, two massive galaxies are colliding in a way that violates all laws of gravitational physics. When galaxies merge, this process should take hundreds of millions of years, as gravitational forces slowly pull stellar systems together. Astronomers can accurately predict how these cosmic collisions unfold based on Newton's laws and Einstein's theory of relativity. But the Webb telescope has captured images of galactic collisions happening incredibly fast, with results that do not match any computer simulations. The antennae galaxies provide the most shocking example. These two spiral systems should be in the early stages of a billion-year merger process. Instead, the Webb telescope shows them completing gravitational interactions that should have taken eons, accomplishing in a few million years what physics dictates should take 1,000 times longer. Dr. Patricia Chen from the Institute for Galactic Dynamics has studied these impossible mergers. Her team discovered the colliding galaxies somehow exchange mass and energy through mechanisms that operate faster than the speed of light should allow for information transfer. When one galaxy loses stellar material, the other instantly gains the exact same amount. Despite being separated by distances that light takes thousands of years to cross, the mechanics of the collision defy basic physics. Instead of the chaotic stellar scattering predicted by gravitational models, these galaxies merge with almost choreographic precision. Stars from different systems have organized into new configurations that exhibit mathematical symmetry impossible to achieve through random gravitational interactions. Webb has discovered something even stranger during these cosmic collisions. The colliding galaxies generate energy signatures that have no explanation in traditional astrophysics. Gravitational waves from the mergers arrive with frequencies that suggest the galaxies are accessing additional spatial dimensions during the collision process. The stellar debris from these mergers does not behave in accordance with the law of conservation of momentum. Material ejected from the collision zones follows trajectories that curve back on themselves, forming loops and spirals that violate fundamental laws of motion. Some stellar streams appear to flow backward in time, with light from the debris arriving before the collision events that created them. The most disturbing phenomena, undoubtedly, are the synchronized cosmic collision events. The Webb telescope has recorded several pairs of galaxies located in different, distant regions of cosmic space that are simultaneously undergoing identical merger processes. These galaxies, separated by billions of light-years, exhibit absolutely coinciding collision patterns occurring within such timeframes that strongly indicate coordinated behavior. Moreover, such collisions lead to the emergence of new types of cosmic structures whose existence, according to gravitational laws, should be simply impossible. From these mergers, hybrid galaxies are born with mass distributions forming stable configurations that completely disregard accepted orbital mechanics. These newly formed galactic shapes maintain their outlines, requiring a constant influx of energy to prevent inevitable gravitational collapse. However, most astonishingly, they show no signs of the energy sources needed to maintain such stability. Some of the sites where these collisions occur give rise to phenomena that seem to warp spacetime itself in localized regions. Light passing through such anomalous zones follows trajectories that curve significantly more sharply than Albert Einstein's field equations predict. This circumstance suggests the existence of exotic states of matter or even modifications to gravity itself. Furthermore, the merger processes appear to selectively preserve certain stellar systems while ruthlessly destroying others, according to patterns that unequivocally hint at some intelligent design. Planets with specific characteristics manage to survive in this cosmic chaos, while others are destroyed, as if the collisions follow predetermined criteria for what should be preserved. These so-called impossible galactic mergers compel us to hypothesize that large-scale cosmic structures operate under rules that humanity is not yet able to comprehend. Perhaps forces beyond our current physical paradigm are at play. However, even these galactic mysteries pale in comparison to another truly astonishing discovery by the Webb telescope: lonely worlds wandering in the boundless cosmic void. In complete solitude, drifting in the utter darkness between stars, trillions of miles from the nearest sun, planets wander through the galaxy like cosmic ghosts that, by all laws, should not exist. These rogue planets were supposedly ejected from their parent systems during chaotic periods of planetary formation, doomed to eternal freezing in the interstellar cold. Without a star to warm them, they should be lifeless ice balls with surface temperatures barely above absolute zero. But the Webb telescope has discovered something utterly impossible on these orphaned worlds. They are somehow generating their own heat and light. The planet designated WISE 0830 plus 2837 serves as the most shocking example of this phenomenon. This world, drifting alone in space 40 light-years from Earth, emits energy equivalent to that of a small star, despite the complete absence of any nuclear fusion source. Its surface temperature reaches nearly 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, about 540 degrees Celsius. This is hot enough to sustain oceans of liquid water, which, logically, should have frozen billions of years ago. Dr. Alexandra Rodriguez, representing the Department of Planetary Sciences, actively monitors these impossible wanderers. Her research convincingly shows that rogue planets are far more common than anyone could have anticipated, with billions of them scattered throughout our galaxy. Even more unsettling is her discovery that many of them exhibit clear signs of active weather systems, atmospheric circulation, and even what appear to be seasonal changes, despite the complete absence of a sun to drive such cycles. Webb has revealed atmospheric compositions on these rogue planets that are absolutely inexplicable. Instead of the frozen, chemically inert atmospheres expected of planets in eternal winter, these worlds sustain complex chemical cycles requiring a constant influx of energy. Some of them show oxygen levels that suggest active photosynthesis, which is utterly impossible without sunlight. The most disturbing discovery concerns magnetic field measurements. These isolated planets generate magnetic fields that are stronger than Earth's, despite the absence of molten metallic cores capable of producing planetary magnetism through dynamo effects. The magnetic field patterns suggest that these worlds are somehow harnessing energy sources for which no known physical explanation currently exists. Even more astounding are the synchronized manifestations recorded on multiple rogue planets. The Webb Space Telescope has tracked groups of these orphaned celestial bodies that maintain strictly defined distances from each other, moving through interstellar space in orderly formation. They move as if connected by invisible forces, preserving geometric configurations, which indicates coordinated behavior rather than random gravitational interactions. Some of these wandering planets emit radio signals whose characteristics resemble artificial transmissions. These signals exhibit modulation patterns that do not correspond to any known natural radio source, but possess features consistent with engineered communication systems. These cosmic broadcasts seem to be directed towards specific regions of space, with a synchronization precision that suggests a deliberate message. Webb has discovered rogue planets with surface features that appear to have been artificially modified. Geometric patterns, discernible in infrared images, suggest the presence of large-scale engineering structures spanning entire continents. These features demonstrate mathematical precision unattainable through natural geological processes. The thermal signatures of these wandering worlds reveal internal heat sources functioning through unknown mechanisms. Instead of the gradual cooling expected of planets that have lost their stellar energy source, these worlds maintain stable temperature regimes, indicating access to exotic methods of energy generation. Most mysteriously, some rogue planets appear to be actively moving towards specific destinations, rather than simply drifting aimlessly through space. Their trajectories follow paths requiring constant course corrections, suggesting intelligent control or adherence to some cosmic navigation system. These discoveries imply that planetary systems can exist and thrive without stars, operating on principles beyond traditional astrophysics. However, wandering planets are just the beginning of Webb's discoveries regarding the presence of water in unimaginable places. Deep within the Orion Nebula, 1,500 light-years from our planet Earth, the Webb Space Telescope has revealed vast clouds of water vapor hovering in regions where every molecule should have been destroyed eons ago. This stellar nursery reaches temperatures of thousands of degrees Fahrenheit, hundreds of degrees Celsius, and is enveloped in intense ultraviolet radiation that should cleave water molecules within hours. Nevertheless, Webb observes stable water clouds stretching for light-years in space, maintaining their molecular structure in an environment more hostile than the surface of the Sun. This discovery violates basic laws of chemistry. Water molecules consist of two hydrogen atoms bonded to one oxygen atom by relatively weak chemical bonds. Under the extreme conditions of star-forming regions, these bonds should instantly break, leaving only individual atoms dispersed by stellar winds. To find intact water molecules here is like finding pristine snowflakes in a blast furnace. Dr. Maria Santos from the Astrochemical Research Institute has mapped these impossible water deposits. Her spectroscopic analysis reveals water concentrations that exceed what is possible even under ideal conditions. Some areas contain water vapor densities approaching those found in Earth's tropical rainforests, existing in the vacuum of space where water should not persist. The water signatures show isotopic ratios that do not correspond to any known formation process. Ordinary water forms through predictable nuclear reactions within stars or chemical reactions in cold interstellar clouds. But these impossible water clouds contain hydrogen and oxygen isotopes in ratios that suggest formation through exotic nuclear processes operating under entirely different physical rules. Webb has discovered something even stranger in the behavior of this cosmic water. Instead of random dispersion through the cosmic medium, as physics predicts, water vapor forms organized structures that maintain coherent shapes for millions of years. These water formations create patterns resembling biological cell structures, suggesting some unknown organizing principle. The water clouds also exhibit dynamic behavior that defies explanation. They flow and circulate in currents spanning tens of light years, creating cosmic weather systems that operate without planets or atmospheres to drive them. These interstellar water cycles appear to be self-sustaining, recycling molecular components through processes that do not require an external energy source. Most disturbing is the discovery that these water deposits appear to be spreading. New water clouds are forming in previously dry regions of space, emerging through mechanisms that create complex molecules from simple atomic components faster than any known chemistry allows. This process more closely resembles biological reproduction than chemical synthesis. Some water signatures detected by Webb show characteristics that suggest the presence of dissolved organic compounds in the vacuum of space, thousands of light years from the nearest planet. These water clouds somehow contain molecular structures typically associated with living organisms. Water also exhibits properties that violate thermodynamics. In regions where temperatures should have vaporized any liquid, Webb detects spectroscopic evidence of water existing in states that simultaneously combine properties of gas, liquid, and solid phases. These exotic water phases maintain stability under conditions that should have made their existence impossible. The implications challenge our understanding of chemistry itself. Either water can exist under conditions far more extreme than laboratory physics suggests, or these cosmic water clouds are forming through processes that go beyond traditional molecular science. The discovery suggests that the basic building blocks of life may be far more common and resilient in the universe than anyone anticipated. But water mysteries pale in comparison to Webb's observations of time itself, behaving strangely around cosmic structures. Around the supermassive black hole at the center of the M87 galaxy, 54 million light-years away, Webb observes time itself stretching and compressing in ways that make Einstein's predictions seem conservative. According to general relativity, massive objects warp spacetime and slow the passage of time in their vicinity. This effect should be subtle, detectable only with precise atomic clocks and careful measurements. But Webb observes such extreme time dilation that it becomes visible in direct observations of stellar orbits, which accelerate and decelerate in patterns that defy our understanding of relativistic physics. Stars orbiting closest to the black hole exhibit temporal effects that exceed Einstein's calculations by hundreds of times. Time around these stellar objects slows so dramatically that their orbital periods noticeably change within months, rather than the millennia required by standard relativity. This is like watching cosmic clocks whose hands speed up and slow down according to rules that transcend known physics. Dr. Stephen Park from the Center for Relativistic Astrophysics has tracked these temporal anomalies. His measurements show that space around massive objects contains regions where time flows at different rates simultaneously. Some areas experience time acceleration, while adjacent areas show time dilation, creating temporal gradients that should be physically impossible. The Webb Space Telescope has discovered even more unsettling phenomena concerning these temporal effects. Instead of following the smooth curves predicted by Einstein's field equations, the The slowing of time around cosmic objects exhibits discrete jumps and sudden transitions. Time appears to operate in quantum steps rather than a continuous flow, suggesting that temporal mechanics involve principles beyond classical relativity. Observations demonstrate stellar systems where causality becomes entangled due to extreme time dilation. Light from stellar explosions arrives before the gravitational waves that initiated them, creating sequences of events that appear to violate causality. Some stellar orbits show effects preceding their causes by months or even years. Most mysteriously, Webb has observed synchronized temporal effects on objects separated by vast distances. When time dilation changes around one massive object, similar changes occur simultaneously around other objects thousands of light-years away. These coordinated temporal variations suggest that space-time functions as a connected network rather than a set of independent gravitational wells. The temporal effects also appear to influence matter in ways that go beyond simple gravitational acceleration. Atoms in regions of extreme time dilation exhibit energy signatures that suggest they are aging internally at different rates. Some stellar spectra indicate that nuclear processes proceed faster or slower than atomic clocks would predict, based on the observed time dilation. Webb has detected regions of space where time appears to flow backward relative to surrounding areas. Light from these zones of temporal anomalies shows a redshift that increases with time rather than remaining constant, suggesting that photons are aging in reverse during their journey through warped spacetime. The temporal effects create observational paradoxes that challenge basic assumptions about the nature of time. Some stellar systems appear to exist in multiple temporal states simultaneously, exhibiting spectroscopic signatures that indicate the coexistence of past, present, and future conditions. These extreme temporal phenomena suggest that our universe operates under a temporal mechanics far more complex than Einstein's relatively simple model of spacetime curvature predicts. The discovery implies that time itself may be an emergent property of deeper physical structures rather than a fundamental dimension of reality. However, temporal mysteries pale in comparison to Webb's observations of dark matter refusing to behave as expected. Throughout the Coma cluster, located 300 million light-years from Earth, invisible dark matter behaves as if it possesses its own intelligence. Dark matter should be a simple substance that interacts solely through gravity, forming smooth halos around galaxies and galaxy clusters. Computer simulations predict how this unseen material should distribute itself across the cosmos, creating a kind of scaffolding upon which ordinary matter builds stars and galaxies. But Webb's observations, using gravitational lensing, show dark matter behaving in ways that contradict every theoretical model. Instead of forming the expected smooth distributions, dark matter appears to organize itself into complex geometric structures spanning millions of light-years. These invisible architectures exhibit patterns that more closely resemble biological neural networks than the random accumulations predicted by gravitational collapse models. Dr. Jennifer Walsh, a prominent researcher from the Dark Matter Research Consortium, has undertaken extensive mapping of these unusual cosmic structures. Her groundbreaking research, based on the phenomenon of gravitational lensing, convincingly demonstrates that concentrations of invisible matter constantly shift and reorganize over millions of years. This process occurs significantly faster than gravity alone could account for. It appears that this unseen substance, dark matter, reacts to changes in the distribution of ordinary matter, as if it possesses some form of awareness or intrinsic sensitivity. The Webb Space Telescope has revealed even more striking and mysterious aspects of dark matter's behavior. Instead of remaining gravitationally bound to individual galaxies, as existing theories predicted, dark matter appears to move between galactic systems, forming organized flows. These flows seem to connect distant clusters, forming what are called dark matter highways. Along these highways, invisible mass is transported across colossal cosmic distances by mechanisms that appear to operate independently of ordinary gravitational attraction. The observations clearly show that concentrations of dark matter maintain precise geometric relationships with each other on incredibly large scales. Dark matter halos surrounding different galaxies exhibit synchronized variations, suggesting the existence of some connection or coordination between invisible structures separated by millions of light-years. Most disturbing and perplexing is the discovery that dark matter seems capable of anticipating the future behavior of ordinary matter. Maps obtained by gravitational lensing show that dark matter concentrations form in regions where galaxy clusters will only appear millions of years later. This means that the invisible matter somehow knows in advance exactly where ordinary matter will congregate, even before ordinary matter begins its movement in those directions. Webb has recorded dark matter interactions that completely refute the fundamental assumption that this mysterious substance responds exclusively to gravity. In collision zones between galaxy clusters, dark matter exhibits behavioral patterns that indicate it is affected by forces beyond simple gravitational attraction and repulsion. The lensing signatures strongly suggest that dark matter possesses a far more complex internal structure than previously assumed based on simple particle interactions. Some dark matter concentrations exhibit layered density profiles that maintain stable configurations utterly impossible under purely gravitational dynamics. Even more mysteriously, the distributions of dark matter around different galaxies show correlations suggesting shared information or common organizing principles. Galaxies that have no causal connection exhibit dark matter halos with coinciding structural features, as if they were created from the same cosmic blueprint. Dark matter, it turns out, also influences the formation of ordinary matter structures in ways that go beyond simple gravitational scaffolding. Star formation rates and galactic evolutionary patterns correlate with dark matter configurations in a way that suggests active intervention rather than passive gravitational influence. These observations challenge the basic assumption that dark matter consists of simple, weakly interacting particles. Its behavioral patterns suggest that dark matter may be a complex system with emergent properties that go beyond current particle physics models. The discovery implies that the invisible universe operates under rules fundamentally different from the visible cosmos we can observe directly. However, the mysteries of dark matter pale in comparison to Webb's discovery of stellar explosions that are literally rewriting physics textbooks. In galaxy NGC 2770, located 88 million light-years from our planet Earth, stars are exploding in ways that violate all known laws of stellar evolution. When massive stars reach the final stage of their existence, they are expected to follow predictable paths to destruction. The star's core collapses, rebounds in a supernova explosion, and leaves behind either a neutron star or a black hole. This process has been observed thousands of times and perfectly matches theoretical models, until the Webb Space Telescope began detecting supernovae that explode multiple times, resurrect after apparent death, and produce energy outputs exceeding what their stellar mass should allow. The most striking and egregious example is the supernova phenomenon designated SN 2023 ABC. This grand stellar explosion was first detected in January, reaching its peak luminosity within weeks, and then, as predicted, gradually faded. However, in March of the same year, this same celestial body flared up again, but with even greater, unprecedented intensity. By December, it had already exploded 5 times, with each subsequent event surpassing the previous one in power and scale. Dr. Rachel Kim, a distinguished researcher from the Institute for Stellar Death Studies, describes these recurring performers as cosmic phoenixes, stubbornly refusing to remain at rest. Her meticulous spectroscopic analysis irrefutably demonstrates that each such explosion ejects an amount of matter equivalent to the mass of several of our suns into cosmic space. Yet the star somehow inexplicably regenerates enough material for subsequent new explosions. This process remarkably violates the accepted laws of conservation of mass and energy on scales that challenge the very foundations of fundamental physics. The Webb Space Telescope has discovered something even more unsettling and intriguing about these impossible supernovae. Instead of the chaotic and unpredictable explosion patterns typically expected from a collapsing stellar core, these events exhibit astonishingly precisely synchronized detonations that strictly follow specific mathematical sequences. Some of these stars explode according to patterns corresponding to Fibonacci numbers, prime number sequences, or strict geometric progressions. The mechanics of these explosions directly contradict the basic principles of nuclear physics. Ordinary supernovae result from the gravitational collapse of iron cores that can no longer resist the force of their own gravity. However, these recurring supernovae exhibit spectroscopic signatures indicating that they explode while still burning lighter elements such as helium and carbon. They appear to completely bypass the normal and predictable sequence of stellar evolution. Most mysteriously, some supernovae appear to explode even before all the necessary conditions that usually trigger them are met. The Webb telescope has recorded stellar explosions occurring when the precursor stars still show clear signs of stable nuclear burning. These explosions appear to anticipate the ultimate demise of the stars by millions of years. The energy outputs of these supernovae violate all known theoretical limits for stellar explosions. Some of them release energy equivalent to the complete conversion of matter into energy, according to Einstein's famous equation. However, they do so while ejecting more mass into the surrounding space than the original star contained. They appear to be somehow creating matter and energy from entirely unknown sources. Webb has also discovered supernova remnants that display an impossible chemical composition from a modern scientific perspective, instead of the expected mixture of heavy elements produced during the explosion. Some of these remnants contain pure isotopes of elements that should not exist in such high concentrations. The products of these explosions suggest the presence of nuclear processes operating under entirely different physical laws. Even stranger are the coordinated supernova events. Stars located in different galaxies, separated by millions of light-years, explode simultaneously, exhibiting coinciding energy signatures and spectroscopic features. These synchronized stellar deaths suggest the existence of some connection between stellar systems across colossal cosmic distances. Some of these supernovae produce explosion shockwaves that propagate at speeds exceeding the speed of light, reaching distant locations even before the light from the explosion itself reaches those same points. These superluminal shockwaves appear to carry information about the characteristics of the explosion, even before the event itself occurs. The observations irrefutably suggest that the process of stellar death involves far more complex mechanisms than simple gravitational collapse and subsequent nuclear explosion. However, all these supernova mysteries pale in comparison to the most shocking discovery made by the Webb Space Telescope concerning the fundamental nature of reality itself. Deep within the cosmic microwave background, that faint afterglow of the Big Bang itself, Webb has discovered patterns that suggest our universe is not the only one. The cosmic microwave background should exhibit nearly uniform temperature fluctuations that served as the seeds for galaxy formation 13.8 billion years ago. These tiny variations have been mapped with extraordinary precision and perfectly match theoretical predictions for a single expanding universe. But Webb's increased sensitivity reveals additional patterns embedded in the cosmic background that cannot be explained by any single universe model. In the deep cosmic expanses, contrary to established notions of a singular universe, mysterious anomalous patterns have been discovered. These extraordinary configurations appear before researchers' eyes as geometric structures that reproduce with astonishing mathematical precision across vast stretches of the celestial sphere. Such formations exhibit unique characteristics, suggesting that they are nothing less than shadows or distinctive imprints emanating from adjacent dimensional spaces that perhaps mysteriously influence our observable universe. It is Dr. Amanda Chen, a distinguished scientist from the Multidimensional Physics Laboratory, who has dedicated herself to the meticulous study of these, at first glance, impossible patterns. Her research group has revealed that the detected geometric signatures surprisingly harmonize with theoretical predictions describing interactions between parallel dimensions that operate with different physical constants. These configurations convincingly suggest that our universe likely resides within a much larger, multidimensional space where diverse versions of reality constantly touch and intertwine. Webb's observations have revealed something even more exciting concerning these dimensional signatures. It turns out that these patterns are not static imprints left over from the birth of the universe, but rather living, dynamic, and transforming structures that continuously evolve throughout cosmic time. Specific regions of space exhibit clear geometric variations that correlate closely with large-scale cosmic events, unequivocally implying real-time interactions between parallel dimensional spaces. No less astonishing is the fact that the cosmic background radiation itself, the omnipresent echo of the early universe, contains information that is supposedly encrypted messages emanating from alternative versions of our universe. Detailed statistical analysis of this data reveals binary patterns integrated into the minute temperature fluctuations, which exhibit features perfectly consistent with signs of an artificial signal or deliberate transmission, rather than natural cosmic processes. However, perhaps the most astounding of all discoveries is the identification of temporal loops present in the cosmic background patterns. Some of these geometric structures appear to carry information about future cosmic events, suggesting that parallel dimensions operate under entirely different temporal rules, where past, present, and future are not separated but coexist simultaneously. Webb has also identified regions of cosmic space where our familiar three-dimensional geometry is completely distorted and violated. Light moving through these anomalous zones follows trajectories whose explanation strongly requires the existence of additional spatial dimensions. It appears that photons are using some shortcuts through higher dimensional space, which paradoxically allows them to arrive at their destination before they actually departed. Furthermore, interdimensional interactions appear to significantly impact matter and energy within our universe. Galaxies located near regions where powerful signatures of parallel dimensions are present exhibit structural characteristics that are utterly impossible to interpret within the framework of ordinary gravitational evolution. These cosmic objects are evidently formed under the influence of forces emanating from outside our own dimensional space. Remarkably, individual signatures of parallel dimensions reveal patterns that surprisingly align with the large-scale structure of our universe, yet they operate with different physical constants. These peculiar fingerprints of an alternate reality convincingly hint at the existence of versions of our cosmos where stars, galaxies, and planets formed according to entirely different rules of physics. This discovery leads to the profound thought that what we perceive as a complete and exhaustive universe may be merely one of numerous layers of a much more complex and multidimensional reality. Consequently, our fundamental physical laws and constants may represent only specific local properties that change and vary in different dimensional spaces within the boundaries of a larger cosmic structure. Moreover, these signatures of parallel dimensions strongly indicate that consciousness and intelligence may not be exclusively confined to our single universe, but capable of residing on multiple dimensional layers. This, in turn, could shed light on some of the coordinated and orderly behaviors regularly observed in cosmic phenomena. The implications of such conclusions truly shake humanity's most fundamental assumptions about the essence and nature of existence itself. Finally, in the unprecedentedly deep panoramic images ever obtained by humanity, the Webb telescope has recorded galaxies that, by all indications, existed even before the beginning of our universe. According to accepted Big Bang cosmology, our universe is 13.8 billion years old. Within this paradigm, it is impossible to imagine anything existing for longer, as time itself originated with cosmic expansion. Every atom, every elementary particle, every quantum of energy arose from that initial moment when space and time first appeared. However, Webb's most distant observations reveal fully formed galactic structures whose age, by calculation, exceeds 15 billion years, challenging the very foundations of our understanding of cosmic history. These so-called impossible ancient galaxies exhibit characteristics that require not just millions, but billions of years of stellar evolution to form. They contain population 3 stars, which, according to the accepted cosmological model, should have long since exhausted their fuel and died out even before the Big Bang. Additionally, supermassive black holes have been discovered within them, which would seemingly have required eons to reach their observed sizes. The discovery of these cosmic elders is comparable to archaeologists finding Egyptian pyramids buried under layers of Precambrian rock, which completely contradicts the usual worldview. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez, a distinguished researcher from the Institute of Temporal Cosmology, has dedicated himself to studying these chronological anomalies. The analysis conducted by his scientific team convincingly shows that these ancient structures exhibit absolutely no signs of participating in cosmic expansion. While every other known cosmic object steadily recedes from us due to the universal expansion of the universe, these primordial galaxies, on the contrary, maintain strictly fixed positions in space, as if they exist entirely outside the expanding space-time structure, challenging our fundamental understanding of cosmic dynamics. Additional spectroscopic data reveals even more astonishing temporal signatures. Light emanating from these impossible galaxies exhibits a redshift that surprisingly changes over time, yet this change does not conform to the pattern expected from expanding space. Instead, the light appears to age in reverse, becoming increasingly blue as the Webb telescope continues to observe it over months of data collection, representing an unprecedented phenomenon for modern astrophysics. Webb has also detected gravitational lensing effects around these ancient structures, suggesting they possess mass distributions that existed even before the formation of dark matter halos. These galaxies, apparently, warp spacetime through mechanisms operating independently of the gravitational effects that shaped every other known cosmic structure, challenging existing theories of gravity. Most disturbing is the discovery that these structures, which predate the Big Bang, show clear signs of technological modification. Infrared images reveal geometric patterns and energy distributions that strikingly resemble engineered constructions rather than natural astronomical objects. These ancient galaxies appear to have been artificially modified by intelligent entities that existed even before the beginning of our universe. The impossible galaxies also emit signals in frequency ranges that do not correspond to any known astrophysical process. These transmissions exhibit modulation patterns that are entirely consistent with communication technologies, strongly suggesting that civilizations thrived in these structures billions of years before the Big Bang created the space and time we inhabit. Chemical analysis shows that these ancient galaxies contain isotopes with decay signatures that suggest they formed under entirely different physical laws. The nuclear processes that led to the creation of their elemental compositions operated according to constants and relationships that significantly differ from the physics governing our current universe. Some of these primordial structures appear to be connected by networks of exotic matter that span distances exceeding our observable universe. These astonishing connections suggest that the pre-Big Bang cosmos functioned as an integrated system rather than a collection of isolated objects, radically changing our understanding of the early universe. The implications of these discoveries completely shatter our established understanding of cosmic origins. If structures can exist longer than the universe itself, then the Big Bang may not represent the beginning of everything, but simply a transition between different phases of a far older and unimaginably complex reality. However, even pre-universal structures pale in comparison to the Webb telescope's discovery of planets forming in utterly impossible stellar environments. Orbiting a magnetar, located 15,000 light-years from us, where magnetic fields are a quadrillion times stronger than Earth's, planets are forming under conditions that, according to our current knowledge, should instantly vaporize any solid matter. Magnetars are the most extreme stellar objects in the universe. These collapsed neutron stars generate magnetic fields so powerful that they distort the very atoms that make up matter, stretching electron clouds into needle-like shapes and making ordinary chemistry utterly impossible. Surface temperatures reach 18 million degrees Fahrenheit, approximately 10 million degrees Celsius, while the magnetic field strength would tear any approaching material apart at the molecular level. Nevertheless, the Webb telescope has detected unmistakable signs of planet formation occurring in orbit around these cosmic monsters. The planetary system discovered around magnetar SGR 1806-20 presents a direct contradiction to all established principles of planet formation theory. Rocky worlds, defying all laws of physics, somehow manage to retain their solid surfaces, continuously orbiting in magnetic fields whose intensity, by all calculations, should have instantly transformed them into subatomic particles. These seemingly impossible planets exhibit atmospheric spectra that indicate the presence of stable weather systems, functioning under conditions significantly more extreme than those prevailing inside nuclear reactors. Dr. Elena Vasquez, a leading specialist from the Department of Extreme Planetary Science, has dedicated her research to studying these cosmic anomalies. Her profound analysis has revealed that the planets maintain astonishingly stable orbits, despite colossal gravitational and magnetic forces. These forces, according to traditional understanding, should have either irrevocably drawn them to the magnetar or instantly ejected them into the abyss of interstellar space within just a few hours. Evidently, the orbital mechanics in this system operate under principles that lie far beyond conventional celestial mechanics. The Webb Space Telescope has revealed something even more astonishing about these magnetar planets. Instead of being completely annihilated by intense radiation and powerful magnetic fields, these worlds appear to feed on them. The planet surfaces emit their own light, suggesting that the extreme stellar environment is somehow inexplicably converted into energy that in turn sustains complex geological processes on their surfaces. The atmospheric compositions of these planets reveal chemical reactions that would seem utterly impossible in such harsh conditions. Elements typically requiring exclusively mild conditions to form complex molecules somehow sustain complex chemical cycles in the presence of magnetic fields powerful enough to levitate entire mountains. Moreover, some planets exhibit oxygen levels that indicate active biological processes functioning in environments capable of sterilizing any life form known to us. Most mysteriously, these magnetar planets exhibit synchronized orbital periods that form mathematical ratios too precise to be a simple result of random gravitational interactions. It appears that these worlds dance around their impossible star in choreographic patterns, suggesting artificial orbital mechanics rather than being explained by natural celestial dynamics. The planetary surfaces display features that resemble constructed megastructures far more than natural geological formations. Geometric patterns covering entire continents possess mathematical precision unattainable through ordinary planetary processes. These surface modifications, apparently, are designed to channel and focus the magnetar's extreme energy output. Webb has also recorded the transfer of material between the magnetar and its planets, which completely contradicts basic laws of physics. Matter continuously flows from the neutron star to the planetary surfaces in streams that somehow maintain a coherent structure across millions of miles of space, filled with destructive magnetic fields and radiation. Furthermore, the planets emit radio signals with characteristics that do not correspond to any known natural phenomenon. These transmissions exhibit frequency modulations highly reminiscent of technological communication systems, suggesting that these impossible worlds may harbor forms of intelligence adapted to extreme magnetic environments. Some magnetar planets exhibit temporal anomalies where surface features age at different rates depending on their exposure to the magnetic field. Regions with higher magnetic field strengths demonstrate geological processes that occur millions of times faster than normal planetary timescales. This discovery suggests that planet formation and evolution can occur under conditions far more extreme than previously thought possible, perhaps through exotic physics that operates only in the most turbulent cosmic environments. But even these impossible planets pale in comparison to Webb's observations of light traveling through dimensions we cannot see. Between our planet Earth and the magnificent Andromeda Galaxy, located 2.5 million light-years from us, photons seemingly use shortcuts through space, whose existence defies accepted physical notions. According to fundamental laws, light must propagate in straight lines through the vacuum of cosmic space, traversing the distance to Andromeda in exactly 2.5 million years. Although Albert Einstein's theory of relativity allows for the phenomenon of gravitational lensing, capable of bending light's trajectory around massive objects, the fundamental speed limit of light remains unchanged. Nevertheless, the Webb Space Telescope has detected light signals emanating from the Andromeda Galaxy that arrive thousands of years ahead of schedule, as if inexplicably bypassing significant portions of three-dimensional space. These impossible photons exhibit spectroscopic signatures absolutely identical to the characteristics of light traveling along standard trajectories. However, their arrival time eloquently indicates that they traverse the same distance significantly faster than usual. It appears that these shortcut photons gained access to some higher dimensional pathways that allow for travel at speeds exceeding the speed of light, without violating the principles of relativity in our familiar three-dimensional space. Dr. Sarah Kim, a distinguished specialist from the Multidimensional Optics Laboratory, has actively tracked these anomalous light trajectories. Her interferometric measurements convincingly show that the early arriving photons exhibit phase relationships that are entirely consistent with passage through warped space-time geometries. Mathematically explaining such phenomena requires invoking additional spatial dimensions. The Webb Space Telescope has discovered even more astonishing features regarding these dimensional shortcuts. Fast-moving light carries additional information that ordinary photons, by all laws of physics, should not possess. These enhanced photons contain data about cosmic structures they should not have encountered during their journey. This circumstance suggests that they traveled through regions of space that lie beyond our observable universe. Light using shortcuts also exhibits specific polarization patterns that indicate its interaction with types of matter absent in familiar three-dimensional space. Some of these photons display signatures of quantum entanglement, suggesting they maintain simultaneous connections with their points of origin even while traveling along higher dimensional routes. Most mysteriously, the phenomenon of dimensional shortcuts appears to be continuously intensifying over time. An increasing number of photons are finding these higher dimensional trajectories, and the time savings become more impressive with each new observation cycle. It seems the universe is actively developing new transportation networks that operate outside the traditional frameworks of space-time. The Webb Space Telescope has recorded light that apparently arrives before it was actually emitted from distant sources. These time-shifted photons suggest that higher dimensional travel routes may provide access to past events, creating observational windows into cosmic history. Such phenomena should be impossible under normal physics. Enhanced dimensional photons also carry encoded information that resembles artificial data transmission rather than natural light signatures. Statistical analysis reveals binary patterns embedded in the quantum properties of light that exhibit characteristics entirely consistent with technological communication across higher dimensional space. Some of the photons using shortcuts exhibit energy characteristics, suggesting they gained additional energy during their dimensional transit. These energized photons arrive with greater energy than they possessed at the moment of initial emission, indicating their access to energy sources available exclusively in higher dimensional regions. Dimensional light paths also appear to be selectively accessible. Only photons possessing specific quantum properties can find shortcuts, while others are forced to travel through ordinary three-dimensional space. The selection criteria strongly suggest that access to higher dimensions requires strictly defined and precise quantum conditions. The discovery made by scientists indicates that our three-dimensional universe is likely just one part of a much larger and more complex multi-dimensional structure. In this grand construct, information and energy can travel along paths that remain invisible to normal human perception. This phenomenon apparently suggests that consciousness and intelligence can naturally function across multiple dimensions, potentially explaining some of the surprisingly coordinated cosmic phenomena regularly observed throughout the universe. However, even these intriguing mysteries of dimensional light pale in comparison to a far more astounding discovery made by the Webb Space Telescope: energy sources whose existence finds absolutely no explanation within the framework of modern known physics. Deep within the galactic halo, at a colossal distance of 40,000 light-years from any nearest star, the Webb telescope has detected unusual energy emissions. These emissions directly contradict the fundamental law of conservation, which is one of the cornerstones of physics. These mysterious energy sources generate an output power comparable to that of entire stellar systems, yet they are located in regions of cosmic space where there is a complete absence of visible matter, black holes, neutron stars, and any other known objects capable of producing such colossal volumes of energy. The emissions, paradoxically, originate from completely empty space, effectively creating something from nothing, which is a direct and obvious violation of the laws of thermodynamics. The energy signatures observed by researchers possess characteristics that are entirely inconsistent with any known physical processes. Instead of the expected broadband emissions typically associated with matter conversion, nuclear fusion, or gravitational collapse, these mysterious sources generate exclusively precisely tuned frequencies. This circumstance suggests a possible technological origin for these phenomena, rather than natural astrophysical processes. Dr. Michael Chen, a distinguished scientist from the Exotic Energy Research Center, has undertaken extensive work mapping these impossible energy sources located throughout our galaxy. His research convincingly demonstrates the existence of hundreds of such mysterious energy emissions scattered in regions where energy production, according to all known laws of physics, should be absolutely impossible. Notably, each of these sources maintains a constant level of output power, which in turn indicates controlled generation rather than chaotic and unpredictable natural processes. The Webb telescope has discovered something even more unsettling and mysterious about these energy sources. They appear to grow stronger over time, exhibiting an increase in output power according to specific mathematical progressions. Some of these sources have doubled their energy production in just a few months since their initial detection by Webb. This circumstance suggests that they are either accessing increasingly powerful mechanisms or moving towards some unknown and predetermined goal. The energy emissions exhibit characteristic modulation patterns that strikingly resemble communication signals rather than random astrophysical phenomena. Frequency analysis of these emissions reveals structured informational content that apparently encodes complex data streams, using energy fluctuations as a kind of carrier medium. Most mysteriously, these energy sources appear to react to astronomical events occurring in entirely different parts of the galaxy. When supernovae explode or black holes undergo accretion events, the mysterious energy sources adjust their outputs in coordinated patterns. This circumstance strongly suggests a kind of awareness of cosmic events in real time. The Webb telescope has observed energy sources that appear to be connected by complex networks spanning thousands of light-years. When one of these sources changes its output characteristics, others respond with synchronized modifications that occur too quickly. The speed of light, as is known, cannot ensure the coordination of responses over such vast distances, indicating the existence of an unknown communication mechanism. The mechanisms of energy production, apparently, operate through interactions with exotic matter, states that exist outside ordinary spacetime. Gravitational wave detectors register subtle, barely perceptible distortions around these energy sources, suggesting that they derive energy from higher dimensional regions. Some of these energy sources exhibit temporal anomalies, where output power precedes apparent triggering events. The sources appear to anticipate future energy needs and adjust their generation rates before the actual demand arises. This circumstance convincingly suggests access to information about future cosmic events. The energy emissions observed in space also exhibit astonishing properties of quantum coherence, which would seem impossible to maintain over the gigantic distances spanned by these sources. Individual photons emanating from different sources retain entangled relationships, indicating shared quantum states extending across galactic expanses. The greatest concern is the discovery that these energy sources, apparently, are artificial constructs rather than natural phenomena. The precise control over their output characteristics and coordinated behavior across the network scale suggests that these are technologies operating at a level that significantly surpasses human engineering capabilities. It appears that these energy sources are preparing for some upcoming cosmic event that will require colossal energy reserves distributed throughout the galaxy. The increase in their power and network coordination indicates a movement towards an unknown goal, unfolding on galactic timescales. The implications of this discovery challenge our understanding of the very nature of energy, suggesting that the universe contains mechanisms for its generation that transcend all known physics. However, the mysterious energy sources pale in comparison to the matter discovered by the Webb Space Telescope that behaves as if it possesses consciousness. Throughout the Perseus galaxy cluster, located 300 million light-years from Earth, ordinary matter organizes itself into structures that resemble biological systems far more than typical astrophysical phenomena. Gas clouds, stretching for millions of light-years, arrange themselves into ordered configurations, exhibiting characteristics of living tissue. These grandiose cosmic formations show organized layers, internal circulation systems, and behavioral responses, suggesting some form of awareness operating on scales that dwarf entire planetary ecosystems. Streams of matter form vast networks surprisingly similar to neural pathways, connecting different regions of the galaxy cluster. Material flows transport energy and information between distant galaxies through organized channels that maintain stable configurations for millions of years. These cosmic circulation systems function with an efficiency that could well rival biological nervous systems. Dr. Jennifer Walsh from the Institute of Astrobiology has dedicated herself to studying these organized forms of matter behavior. Her meticulous analysis shows that gas clouds respond to external stimuli in ways that suggest information processing capabilities. When bursts of cosmic rays or gravitational waves interact with these structures, they trigger organized reactions that propagate throughout the network. The Webb Space Telescope has discovered something even more unsettling about these living matter systems. They appear to reproduce through processes resembling cell division, large structures split into smaller copies that fully retain the organizational characteristics of their parent systems. These cosmic offspring then grow and develop their internal complexity over millions of years. The networks of matter exhibit adaptive behavioral patterns that suggest learning capabilities. When subjected to repeated gravitational disturbances, the structures alter their configurations to better withstand future disruptions. Each cosmic event teaches the matter systems to organize more efficiently against similar challenges. Most mysteriously, the organized matter demonstrates collective decision-making behavior. When multiple paths exist for matter to flow between galaxies, the cosmic networks choose routes that optimize information transfer and energy distribution. These choices show planning capabilities that require awareness of the states of the entire network. Webb has discovered matter structures that appear to actively interact with similar systems located in other galaxy clusters. Organized energy pulses propagate between distant matter networks using mechanisms that function at incredible speeds, exceeding the supposed limits of the speed of light. These cosmic conversations strongly suggest coordination between living matter systems separated by billions of light-years. The biological manifestations of matter extend beyond elementary organization, evolving into complex ecosystemic interactions. Diverse types of matter structures exhibit symbiotic relationships, where each participant benefits from cooperation with others. At the same time, the cosmos also observes the phenomenon of parasitism, where certain matter systems absorb others to ensure their own growth and reproduction. Some matter networks exhibit defensive reactions when faced with threats from black holes or stellar explosions. The structures instantly reorganize to protect critical information processing nodes, sacrificing less significant peripheral areas. Such survival strategies indicate the presence of complex self-preservation instincts operating on truly galactic scales. Living matter systems also possess the ability to remember, retaining records of past events encoded in their structural configurations. Historical data about cosmic collisions, supernova explosions, and galaxy evolution remains accessible within the network's architecture for billions of years. The most astonishing discovery is that these matter systems appear to continuously evolve towards increased complexity and intelligence as cosmic time progresses. Newer structures exhibit more sophisticated organization and faster response times compared to older systems, suggesting directed evolution towards enhanced cognitive abilities. The organized matter appears to be striving towards some collective goal that requires coordinated action across multiple galaxy clusters. The observed network behaviors suggest they are actively preparing for upcoming cosmic events that will demand unprecedented levels of matter organization and information processing. These findings suggest that consciousness and intelligence may be fundamental properties of matter itself, rather than rare accidents of biological evolution. However, the mysteries of living matter pale in comparison to the Webb telescope's discovery of gravitational anomalies in supposedly empty space. In the cosmic void stretching between galaxy superclusters, regions of space utterly devoid of visible matter warp light and distort spacetime, as if massive objects were present. These gravitational anomalies have been detected in regions that, according to deep investigations, contain no stars, galaxies, black holes, or any other detectable matter. Nevertheless, space in these areas curves precisely as if invisible masses, equivalent to billions of suns, were creating gravitational wells that capture light and distort the trajectories of passing cosmic rays. The observed gravitational effects do not correspond to any patterns expected from dark matter concentrations. Instead of the smooth, predictable curvature created by dark matter halos, these anomalies generate complex geometric distortions that suggest intelligent design rather than natural gravitational collapse. Dr. Robert Kim from the Institute of Gravitational Physics has meticulously mapped these impossible gravitational sources throughout intergalactic space. His measurements convincingly demonstrate that the anomalies maintain precise geometric relationships with each other across distances spanning hundreds of millions of light-years. The gravitational fields, apparently, form organized networks rather than random distributions. The Webb Space Telescope has discovered something even more intriguing about these gravitational manifestations of empty space. They exhibit coordinated oscillations that suggest active management rather than passive mass accumulations. Gravitational force undergoes changes over time, following mathematical sequences that do not correspond to any known astrophysical processes. These anomalous phenomena also generate gravitational lensing effects that amplify light streams from certain cosmic sources while completely ignoring others. Such selective focusing behavior indicates that gravitational fields are somehow capable of distinguishing between different types of electromagnetic radiation and selectively amplifying specific signals. Most mysteriously, the gravitational anomalies appear to anticipate the movement of passing objects. Cosmic rays and light beams experience course corrections that guide them towards specific destinations, as if the gravitational fields are providing a kind of navigational service for interstellar travelers. Webb has recorded gravitational waves emanating from these empty regions that carry informational patterns, rather than just the ripples one would expect from the collision of massive objects. The wave signatures exhibit modulation characteristics consistent with artificial communication rather than natural gravitational phenomena. Furthermore, the gravitational anomalies exhibit temporal effects that violate the principles of relativity. Measurements of time dilation near these regions show variations that exceed what the apparent gravitational force should produce. Some areas experience time acceleration, while others show time dilation, thereby forming temporal networks connecting distant regions of space. Some gravitational fields appear to be powered by energy sources that operate outside the conventional space-time continuum. The anomalies maintain their strength despite the absence of visible matter to sustain them, suggesting that they are accessing exotic energy from higher dimensional regions. The gravitational effects of empty space also, apparently, respond to cosmic events occurring in other parts of the universe. When massive cosmic collisions happen, the anomalous gravitational fields alter their configurations according to patterns that suggest awareness of distant events and a corresponding reaction to them. Most disturbing is the discovery that the number and intensity of these gravitational anomalies are increasing over time. New gravitational effects are appearing in previously normal regions of space. While existing anomalies become more powerful and complex in their behavior, gravitational networks appear to be building infrastructure spanning intergalactic distances. The coordinated field patterns suggest they are creating transportation systems that will allow faster-than-light travel through controlled gravitational shortcuts. The implications of these discoveries challenge our fundamental understanding of gravity itself, suggesting that gravitational effects can exist independently of matter and operate on principles that go beyond Einstein's general theory of relativity. However, gravitational mysteries pale in comparison to the Webb Space Telescope's most shocking discovery: signals arriving from beyond our observable universe. Thank you for watching, friends. See you next time.